Now welcome to another Let's Talk Some Star Wars, where we once again have an agree or disagree question, and afterwards I will of course be reading and responding to some of the comments left on the poll. But this time the question or statement was, Revenge of the Sith is better than The Empire Strikes Back, agree or disagree? And it turns out that 28% of people who voted agreed with that, while 72% disagreed. Which kind of surprised me a little bit. Not that I agree with it. I do think Empire is a better film than Revenge of the Sith, which doesn't mean I don't love the heck out of Revenge of the Sith or think it is a good movie. But I do think if I had to pick, I do think Empire is better. And I kind of predicted in my last video that maybe 40% would actually agree with this, and I was kind of off, as you can see, by about 12%. I figured there would be a lot of people who just love Revenge of the Sith more, and whether or not they thought it was better or not didn't really matter. They just wanted to vote for it, which is fine. This is all in good fun. And I do know that there is a pretty healthy amount of prequel fans, or the prequel generation, who watch my videos, despite me being more from the OT generation. Either way, kind of surprised by the results, not because I don't agree, but because I just thought more people would say, heck with it, I'm voting Revenge of the Sith, though 28% of people, or roughly a quarter, a little over a quarter, is still not bad, considering many would say Empire is one of the greatest movies of all time. Alright, and now we move on to some comments, but not before once again just saying thank you to everybody who votes, or comments, or watches these, or any of my videos across both the channels. Thank you so much. I always love and appreciate all the well thought out comments, and I do read 95% of them. So even if I don't answer your question in the video, just know, yes, I did read it, I do appreciate it. As I also appreciate those who support the channel over on Patreon. Thank you so much for that as well. And now we start with the top rated comment, as we always do. And this time it came to us from Richard Sylvester, who said, "Doesn't matter as long as we all agree that nothing happened after Return of the Jedi." And somehow, even when they're not invited, the sequel trilogy has returned, because obviously this question had nothing to do with them. We could have ignored them, but it is what it is. The last question, or last agree or disagree, was asking if you think Rise of Skywalker is better than The Last Jedi, so it's coming off the heels of that, so maybe that's why people were still interested in speaking their mind on this film, or those films. Either way, it is maybe a little interesting that this still gets brought up even when it's not the topic and it becomes the top rated comment, and it really makes me ask the question. And of course, my channel, I'm not a sequel fan, so... But it does make me ask, what is the breakdown? How many people, now that they're kind of in the rear view mirror by a good 6-7 years at this point almost, how many people really enjoyed those films? How many sequel fans are out there? Because on that previous poll, I read, again, pretty much all of the comments, 90-some% of the comments at least, and there were like 1,000 of them. There really wasn't anybody other than a handful, like 2 or 3 comments that were defending those films. And so it really makes me wonder, where do most fans stand on them today? I wish I could do a totally non-biased poll and ask the entire fan base, a broad swath of the fan base, what do you think of the sequels? That would be a really interesting question, but of course, again, there's going to be bias on my channel. I know that. I'm not a fan of those movies. Most of the people who watch my videos aren't going to be a fan either, but it's still a really interesting question. It still fascinates me, I guess, to ask how many people really liked those movies. Alright, let's put the sequels in the rear view mirror. This video isn't about them, and move on to this comment from DeMarcus Fountain, who said, "I love both movies, but objectively, Empire Strikes Back is better. Better acting, better written story, greatest plot twist in cinema history. It's legit one of the greatest movies of all time." And this was a sentiment echoed by a lot of people. A lot of comments said something along the lines of, if we're just being as objective as possible, if I toss out my personal love of Revenge of the Sith, The Empire Strikes Back is just a better movie. And again, I'm a prequel fan, I love Revenge of the Sith, but if we're being honest and objective, I do think The Empire Strikes Back is a fantastic movie all around. As pointed out by DeMarcus here, the acting, the writing, the plot twists, just everything about it, especially the visual effects for the time, it is all top-notch. It even holds up today. I don't need to say for the time. I think it still looks good today. The Empire Strikes Back still looks good today. So taking all of that into account, I do think the better movie is The Empire Strikes Back, though nothing but love for Revenge of the Sith. Alright, and now we move on to this comment from Gregory Lieber, who said, "All the Yoda stuff on Dagobah with age only gets greater and greater for mind, body, and soul. But then I ask myself, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?" And yeah, there is that to worry about, but in all seriousness here, I agree. The Empire Strikes Back, I think, only gets better as you get older and appreciate what the film is actually all about. Because when I was a kid, when I was very young, I remember loving the Battle of Hoth, and then there's the boring stuff in the middle, and then we get the big lightsaber battle at the end, and the escape from Cloud City, and all the Boba Fett stuff. And that's what I loved about the movie. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing I loved. Yes, I could, even at a young age, get the story and appreciate the story and all of that. But certainly not in the same way or to the same degree I can today. I still love the Battle of Hoth. I still love the duel and all of that. I still love everything about the movie. But yes, the Yoda stuff has only gotten better with age as you understand it more, as you understand what he is trying to say, as we get to see or learn a little bit more about the Force from George Lucas as well. How it all works, what this is all about. It is the best example that we have of kind of the mystery of the Force according to him. So I certainly appreciate it for that as well. And now, here in my older age, I have this appreciation of the full movie. Everything about it is just fantastic. Again, the battles are great, the visuals, the writing, the acting, everything about it. The message in there, the fact that the good guys lose, which is a strange thing to say, but it is shocking that the good guys lose in the end. Everything about this movie is just fantastic. Next up here, then, we have a comment from Scotty Mikiakti. I think I'm saying that one right. And they said, "Hey Thor, I actually caught myself responding with a quietly vocalized when I read this because I kind of hesitated for a second. I thought for sure that Empire would easily get my vote. It still did after a moment of careful consideration. But it made me realize how much I really do love Revenge of the Sith. Great film. But in the end, just like in both films, Empire wins." And yeah, I'm sure a lot of people read the question, or the statement really, and thought to themselves, yeah, that's not so easy to answer because Revenge of the Sith is a really, really enjoyable film. I love that movie. Now, in the end, as you said, I think a lot of people just go, yeah, Empire's probably just the better movie all around. But the fact that, again, Empire could be regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time, and that people have to pause and go, yeah, does Revenge of the Sith maybe beat it out? That alone says something about Revenge of the Sith. And there were a lot of comments, well, maybe not a lot, but a few who said they wanted a third option where they couldn't pick, and that's really not the point of this. I want people to have to answer the hard questions and then give your reasons why in the comments below here, and then we can discuss it. That's more fun than like half the people saying, oh, it's too close for me to decide or something like that. That's no fun. And yes, we will be doing more questions like this one. I really like the format, the agree, disagree, and I want to keep going with the movies. So take to the comments below. I'll probably pin something down there. And which movies would you like to pit against each other next? My thought was A New Hope versus Return of the Jedi, but then I also thought about maybe Attack of the Clones versus Rogue One or something like that. But I'll let you all decide in the comments below. Again, I'll probably pin something down there, put your responses in there, and vote with a thumbs up for the one you'd like to see. You know how to do this if you've been following my channel for a while. Alright, now on to this comment from Zenith, who said, "I think I give it to The Empire Strikes Back because of how it took a good movie, Episode 4, and topped it by being an even better with interesting story plot and acting. Episode 3 looks so amazing because it comes after Episode 2, which is a very slow movie with some of the worst lines in the prequel trilogy. Do I need to mention the sand? It did a good job of finishing that trilogy in a satisfying manner, but I think it looks so good because of what came before, while Empire Strikes Back is so amazing despite having to compete with an amazing movie that came before it." And I do think you make a really interesting point here, especially about The Empire Strikes Back. It came off the heels of arguably the biggest movie of all time, and maybe still in some respects it's the biggest movie of all time considering how it shaped the industry after. So here you had this film that everybody in the world went to see, not literally, but you know what I mean. But you had this massive success of a movie that everybody loved and was talking about, and now you have to make a sequel to it, and not only did you follow it up well, but you actually made a better movie. Again, if we're trying to be objective and fair, I do think The Empire Strikes Back is a just better movie than A New Hope. Nothing but love for A New Hope, but Empire is a masterpiece. And that is, as I've argued before, that's maybe the reason why we are still here talking about Star Wars. The fact that Empire was actually better than the first one. And if it wasn't, if Empire had been a terrible movie or just not quite as good, maybe Star Wars kind of fizzles after that. Now, I don't think it does, but maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't become the juggernaut that it still is or should be today. I don't know, but that is certainly impressive that they actually made a better movie with the second film. While, yes, you could argue Attack of the Clones is maybe the weakest of the prequels, and that Episode 3 then looks even better after that. But I do think it is more impressive how Empire followed up after Star Wars and was, again, a better movie. Alright, and now one final comment here, and it comes to us from Battlefront Bros, who said, "I don't think anything matches the epic scale that Revenge of the Sith brings. Watching it in theaters for the first time for the 20th anniversary, it was an otherworldly experience. The music, the action, the characters, the story, all of it is so special, especially Palpatine's rise to power. So this is how Liberty dies, with thunderous applause." And yeah, Revenge of the Sith is an amazing movie-going experience. I was there a couple months ago to watch the 20th anniversary, and I was there 20 years ago at midnight, the night it released, to watch it then, and loved it then, and watched it like 4 more times in the theater, though it doesn't top my record of seeing Phantom Menace 10 times in the theater. But I absolutely love that movie. I love the experience. It is something special to see it in the theater. And this whole idea of agree or disagree isn't meant to say, oh, see, Revenge of the Sith isn't as good as The Empire Strikes Back or anything like that. This is all meant to be in good fun. Now, I didn't see anybody in the comments not taking it that way, so I'm not trying to defend this poll or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is meant to be in fun. I appreciate the fact how many people said that, yeah, I love Revenge of the Sith, it's probably my favorite movie, but yeah, Empire Strikes Back is a better film. That's one of the things I love about this community. Just a lot of really cool people who want to have fun with Star Wars and maybe don't necessarily love the sequels and want to bring that up from time to time. But again, this is all in good fun. Thank you for those who respond and watch the videos, and now you can take to the comments below and tell me which agree or disagree or which movies you'd like to see pitted against each other next in fun. And maybe I'll try to figure out a way to have some sort of win-loss record and we can get some standings going. I'm a analytics and stats guy, so I love to do that sort of thing. But anyway, that's going to be all I got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell me which one you think is the better movie, Revenge of the Sith or The Empire Strikes Back. Or tell me what you think about what I or anyone else had to say here in this video. Or again, you can go and respond to the pinned comment below and tell us which movies you'd like to see pitted against each other next, and give a thumbs up to the one you'd like to see, should it already be down there. But whatever the case may be, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.